Jake Paul just beat UFC legend Nate Diaz, and this was after his devastating loss to Tommy Fury, where he considered quitting.
After the Fury fight, we all kind of wondered if that would be it.
Yeah, that was definitely a thought.
But it was actually because of this defeat that he came back and beat one of the best combat fighters in the world. And by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly how to use failure to catapult you to your next major accomplishment. Jake Paul is a YouTuber turned boxer who nobody took seriously, since he was knocking people out, but only NBA players and retired UFC fighters. Fans, critics, and haters all told him he couldn't beat a real boxer. He wanted to prove them wrong, so he set up a fight with Tommy Fury, a professional boxer who's been boxing since he was a child, and whose brother is a heavyweight champion. He finally had a chance to shut everyone up and prove his ability against a real boxer. However, when the fight began, in his own words, it was one of the worst performances of his life.
That was my worst performance ever.
Although he got in some good punches, and was able to display his warrior spirit by continuing to fight back. In the end, he lost due to a split decision. This was heartbreaking, because even worse than just losing a match, it proved all his haters right, that he couldn't beat a real boxer. Afterward, he briefly considered quitting, because where would he go from here?
Is that what I want to do? Absolutely not. I'm doubling down.
So he scheduled his next fight against UFC champion and legend Nate Diaz. But this put him in a difficult spot, because if he lost twice in a row, the exciting momentum he had would completely die down, and it would be even harder to come back. In the lead up to the fight, his trainers put him through the toughest training camp of his career. And there were times where he didn't think he could keep going, but every time he felt like giving up,
I instantly think of the feeling of losing, and it's like, you gotta turn it up right now because we're never losing again.
Using the pain of his previous loss as motivation, he worked harder than he ever had before and reached a new level of potential. When the fight began, he was fully prepared. But this didn't mean it was easy. Although he stunned Nate with a flurry of punches in the first round and appeared the more skilled fighter, Nate weathered the storm, made it a scrappy war, and seemed to come back even stronger the more he got hit. However, by the end, Jake had done enough and was declared the unanimous winner. How did Jake get even better after a tough loss?
I thank Tommy for beating me because having that as a motivation is like nothing else.
Jake used the failure as fuel to drive him to work harder than he ever had before. After a crushing failure, it's easy to get less motivated and consider quitting. The fear of feeling that pain again, or even a worse pain after losing again after that, can be debilitating and prevent you from trying again or giving your best effort. But allowing the fear of failure to hold you back is the mindset of a loser. With this fear of failure holding you back, it's impossible to perform your best and give your all. But the mindset of a winner uses the pain of failure to their advantage. They use the pain to motivate themselves to train harder and perform better, so that they never feel the pain of loss again. Does this mean that they'll never lose again? No, everyone loses. But if they do, they won't discard the failure like it never happened and waste that powerful motivation. They become even stronger after failures because they grow even more motivated and driven to be better.
I'm gonna go harder. I'm gonna commit myself even more.
So if you just had a bad failure, instead of acting like it never happened or drowning the feeling with distractions, soak in all these uncomfortable feelings of embarrassment, shame, disappointment, frustration, and rather than letting it destroy you and persuade you to quit, use these feelings during your next training session. Allow it to fuel you to learn and work harder in the area you failed at. Allow it to sharpen your focus during competition so that you don't make the same mistakes. Once time passes, you'll realize that the failure was one of the best things that could have happened to you.
The loss was probably the best thing to ever happen to me.
Because you got so much better because of it. So after your next failure, be glad and thankful it happened, because you know that it will be just the motivation you need to elevate your abilities to a whole new level.